Welcome to Craptastic Home and Garden. This is the June 13th garden update. Before you watch this video, I want you to know that it's been a really long time since I made a video for publishing, and I sort of just wandered around and talked about my plants as if you're my friend. So if you're into that kind of video and you don't mind listening to me rambling and not having much really planned to say about my garden, then this might be the video for you. But if you find that kind of thing a little bit tedious and annoying, or you're looking for specific information about gardening, this video might be a little bit long and perhaps annoying. Keep in mind that I too don't love this video, and maybe give it a thumbs up anyway to give me some encouragement. It's June 13th, and this is my gardening progress video. An Italian oregano, it's doing okay. Banana tree is doing this. This is a, is this a kumquat? This is a lemon tree. This is something that Nicole gave me. I think it's called silver carpet or maybe lamb's ear. The fig tree is alive, but it's not getting much bigger. This is pieces of the jade that I've rooted because I trimmed them off of the original one, and a begonia, a fake flower because the squirrels like to dig right here. The stevia really needs more water, and the thyme wants to take over this pot. I'm hoping that it'll grow where this fake flower is so I can remove the fake flower. And this is just a random thing from Walmart that is growing pretty well. It's lost a few leaves and grown a few new ones. We've got Creeping Jenny. She's looking a little crispy. My allium is done for the season. This was Captain Cheerio, but I think I'm gonna dig up his bulbs and plant him somewhere else. Here we have a black petunia that I just bought this year. It's already grown like a lot. I got it from Ott's Exotic Plants. My chives bloomed this year, and now you can see the seeds are coming out. I took some of the seed heads inside. There's the little black seeds. Kind of hoping it'll seed itself a little bit. I've got a new chive that's this year. I don't know if it's because of our seasons, but it takes me 2 years to get chives to bloom. The rest of these are onions. Got some red ones and some yellow ones and white ones all together. There's a tomato plant that kind of needs a better support because he's outgrowing it. I think this is a Super Sweet 100 tomato. This guy I bought from Walmart like 3 years ago. It's a taro root, I think. It didn't have a label and it looked almost dead, so I only paid like $5 for it. I cut off all the leaves, and it gradually grew its leaves back. There's a weed in here. I see a weed. This is not part of this plant. The squirrels have buried a lot of things. I see some new growth. The leaves that are a bit crispy need to come off of there. The strawberries, I put paper towel and toilet paper rolls to hold the strawberries up off of the dirt. This one makes red colored flowers, pinkish red, and this other one, which has been here for a couple years, it makes white flowers. And you can see that there's a runner that goes from the original strawberry, a very long runner, to over here where he's made a pup. And this is from the original strawberry plant. So I'm gonna need to dig that pup and probably make 2 strawberry bushes for next year. This is a weird looking strawberry. I got these strawberry supports from Temu, which is like the new Wish. They're not very good because the snappy part here doesn't want to stay together all that well. I'm thinking I want to use some kind of wire surface that goes all along the surface and then pull the strawberry plants up from there. This one's no good. I think these are my English daisies. The squirrels took the label, but they are just now starting to bloom, which is exciting. My ranunculus never did bloom. This is my petunia that is 3 years old. She's looking a little rough because last week it got really hot and I think I didn't water her enough. She used to be on that corner where I put the tomato and she was frying, so I moved her down here hoping she can make a recovery. This is my first year petunia from Lowe's, which is not growing nearly as fast as the black petunia. Black petunia is growing much faster. These are irises. I really don't know what I want to do with them yet, so I just stuck them in that pot for now. We harvested the peas maybe 3 days ago, and there were still some small ones, so I've left them on to get bigger. It looks like it's time to chop those off. This one's doing a grow, but it's almost time to cut the peas out and probably make this into an extended strawberry bed, because I want to build a more permanent cage for the strawberries. This cage works to keep the squirrels out, but it's difficult for us to get strawberries out from. And I think the peas are going to be the new strawberry bed. Yeah. Lettuce has had a really rough time because I feed the birds right here and they knock all the seeds down here. So there were a lot of like weeds growing here, which were like, this is probably a sunflower seed. I'm letting it go just to see what happens, but there were a lot of millet that were growing. This lettuce is from the original planting, and these were from the second planting where I tried to recover what happened. The squirrels also get over here and dig, so they dug out all of the lettuce seeds that were here. That's why there's only lettuce there. There's a tomato plant. He is a sun sugar yellow cherry tomato, and I bought it as a $3 plant from Lowe's, and it's growing. It's good. I only have 2 rainbow Swiss chards that have grown, but they're so pretty. They are really nice. I want to grow more rainbow Swiss chard. Got a fake plant to keep them from digging here. That's what this weed fabric's for. This is a husky red cherry. I bought it as a plant as well. Marigolds. These were given away by Lowe's for Mother's Day, and the squirrels came and ripped the head off. They've grown new marigold heads. I'm impressed with how big they are. Here's a yellow zucchini that is producing. Another fake flower. I had phlox back here. I just dug them up yesterday, so I need to refill the back part behind the zucchini, and I probably won't put anything else there, just probably compost for the zucchini. These are potatoes, and yesterday I saw that they were really poking above the soil. They're not supposed to poke above the soil, because if they are out, they turn green, which I guess introduces a toxin. You're not supposed to eat them. I've eaten lots of green potatoes and I'm still alive, but you're not supposed to. My dahlia, I bought this from the almost dead section at Lowe's and brought her back to life, and it looks like she is pink, so that's kind of exciting. She's planted mostly in rabbit manure and straw and pine pellets from my friend Ariel, and it's done really well at providing the nitrogen that the dahlia needs. My rubber plant, I bought this guy maybe 5 years ago from Produce Junction. I put some wire down because this was a favorite digging spot for the squirrels. Anyway, I bought this from Produce Junction. It had 3 plants in one pot, and 2 of them died. This is the one that is left over. It took me a long time to figure out that it just needs lots and lots of light and more water than what I was giving it, but it has to have, you know, good drainage, but it needs lots and lots of light. So it's got this spot where it gets just tons of light, and these red tips are the new leaves that are growing, and they'll open up, and then the red part on the outside, it drops that. It's really interesting. This is my Big Mama jalapeno plant. I don't know what's going on with the white part on her stem. A little worried about that, but she is making jalapenos. Last year was a big jalapeno year. I ended up drying and pickling and doing all kinds of things with the jalapenos. I chopped off, you can see where all the cuts are. She was a little bit larger last year. I cut her off and I brought her into the kitchen for the winter, and I wasn't sure if she was still alive, but as you can see, she came back. The ones that I cut down to really, really short, like the internet said to do, those died. So I just cut off all of her leaves, well, most of her leaves, and then I brought her in, and as leaves were falling, I did a little bit more cutting, but I didn't cut as aggressively as YouTube said on this particular plant. The plants that I did cut aggressively, they died. These are hollyhocks from Walmart that did not sprout, and I don't think they're going to, but we'll give them more time and see what happens. These are a couple of bell pepper plants that I bought this year. They are flowering, but they haven't shown a lot of growth. These are pepper plants that I grew from seed. I can probably remove this now. Ooh, is there... Okay, well, and also a nasturtium that... There's two nasturtium here that I didn't even know were here. These were not supposed to be here, but okay. I have my impatiens. This one hasn't bloomed yet, but you can see there's like a red stripe in the leaves instead of just plain green. I'm wondering if this one will be red. So most of the impatiens from the mix that I planted, most of them have been white, but I think this one might be a red one. At least I'm hoping so. This is a passion fruit flower that I just got in the mail. I'm gonna put it maybe in the shade because it seems a little bit crispy, although the soil is moist still. I watered them last night. This is my Spanish lavender, and I put it in my tea. I don't really like it as far as the taste, but it does help me to get sleepy a little bit more quickly. The English lavender I like a little bit better as far as drinking with my tea, but and the Spanish lavender, it seems like the bees like better, so something for everyone. Here's a geranium that looks really bad. She probably needs to be deadheaded because she's got a few spent blooms. Here's 3 corn plants that didn't make the cut for the corn area. It's a long story. Something kept ripping up the corn from the corn area, so I was scared about planting everything out there. So I'm like, I'll just plant a few here and see what happens. And then that's why this wire is over it, because things were ripping the corn out and digging in the soil. Like this part is open right now. You can actually see that something's been digging here, and over here you can see something has dug. They probably planted those nasturtiums, the squirrels. I didn't plant them. This plant, maybe I'll stitch with this video. She actually bloomed last year. I've already trimmed a lot of it, and I have the trimmings here. As you can see, last year it bloomed, and I let those blooms stay on it over the winter because I felt that bringing it in to overwinter and trimming it at the same time might be too much stress on it. So what I'm doing is, I do have a pair of scissors I'm using to kind of clean out any little pieces that have fallen off, the dead pieces. I'm not going to repot this at the same time as I trim off all these flowers. And I'll go through all these cuttings and maybe replant some more little babies like this piece. My chives are blooming finally. This is year 2. I just let my chives grow, and they are making flowers this year. And this one, this little succulent that lives in with, is making some babies, so I may separate some of those off. And the aloe plant is also making some babies. They're in a very tight pot. They haven't got a lot of room, but they seem to be doing well, so I'm a little scared to repot. They also might be stuck in this pot. But she finally has her pot open for just her, because she was in with this aloe, which was getting gigantic, and someone's been digging. And this succulent was also in there, and it's made several babies. One of the plants that was in there I took to the backyard. This is more potatoes, and I've covered it because the squirrels do love to dig up the potatoes. Once the greenery grows enough, I'll be able to take that off. I actually thought I was a freaking genius for getting a bunch of these from the Dollar Tree and using them this way, but then I saw someone else did it in another video, and I was like, ah. I didn't realize other people had already figured out what I just figured out. This is a lemon tree that went inside and got overwintered, and then I brought it outside too early and she lost all of her leaves. So I cut the branches off. That's why she looks so tight, like all of the leaves are really tight to the middle, because she had to grow everything back. I actually thought she may be dead. And this is an update of the backyard area. We've got a whole little walkway situation here. Yeah, I painted this window. I don't really like these guys here, but I don't know where to put them yet, so that's where they are. I have this hosta that we built a fence on top of it, and then I put plastic on top of it, and then I put rocks on top of it, and it just persisted to grow. So I'm letting him grow. I put all the other hostas that were here amongst the weeds. I put them into this, and they're doing really well. So this is just the plants that were already here, which is a spillover from all of these hostas on this side. We're trying to fill in this area so that it doesn't slope down so much, which is mostly filled now. And also I want to create a grass walkway here so it's easier for Adrisa to get the lawnmower through. This is Big Mama. I have trimmed her since her last bloom. She's got a few more blooms coming on. This one's a lot smaller than the previous ones. Something has been nibbling at a lot of my rose bushes. I don't know what. This is a sprout coming up from Big Mama. This is a new rose. This plant, it just keeps doing worse and worse here. I'm thinking it maybe needs part shade instead of full sun. This is a lily that was among the weeds and now is out. I don't know what was planted in there, but it's dead, whatever it is. This is a pineapple sage, and it really, really smells like pineapple. It doesn't taste like pineapple, so I'm having a hard time using it in culinary recipes so far. It's pineapple sage. It was from Ott's Exotic Plants. Kind of a novelty. It's fun to just smell it and be like, oh, it smells like pineapple. Here's some more bindweed, and I need to mulch more. And over here we have this weed. I forget its name, but it's really bad. It's got a huge root system. I moved the Italian oregano to here. This basil is planted in rabbit manure, so it's doing a lot better. There's a vinca vine. I think it has to come in for the winter. Here we have a mystery plant, maybe a flower of some sort. This is Canterbury bells, sage, marjoram's looking pretty bad. I think he needs more water. And this is cilantro that I kept taking the blooms off of it, but I've given up now. We're just gonna let it bolt. This is lemon thyme, and it's doing really well. I've planted it in yard soil, so there are a few weeds that come up, Mostly clover, it looks like, which is fine. The clover doesn't really bother me. What's this? This weed bothers me. I'm gonna take it out. And this one, I don't know what that is. We've got some mint. This is a first year clematis that I just bought as a root, and it is alive, which is nice, but it's not doing a whole lot. Also, my nasturtium was grown from seed, and it's not looking all that great either. It's called tall nasturtium. I need to bring the moisture meter out. It seems really wet, so maybe he just needs to dry out a little. Catmint, something has been eating the catmint bush. This bush is going to go in the ground somewhere where it can come back each year, but I'm not really sure where yet. I also planted just some catnip on the side because Kuro, you want some catnip? Here you go. Yeah. Looks like she's decided that she's gonna eat the catnip, and then we'll check back in with her in a little bit and see what kind of effect this has on her behavior. I got this comfrey from my friend Nicole, and it's doing really well. I put it in a deep pot because it's supposed to be the kind of plant that has really deep roots that brings up nutrition from the bottom of the soil. But it's also the kind of plant that once you plant it, you're stuck with it forever. Like it's never coming out because you can't dig deep enough to get it out. So I'm a little scared to plant it in the ground. I don't know yet where I want to put it, where it won't be a problem. Mr. Itchy usually lives in the office, and he's been exiled to out here. He came from Walmart maybe 3 years ago. I like him because he's the same plant that I have in Animal Crossing. This one was in with the aloe plant and the other plants that got their own pots. This one is a Porto Grande Portulaca, likes it hot and sunny. I just got this guy from Ott's Exotic Plants, and I love it. It's been blooming. It like the blooms last a couple of days, and then it keeps making more blooms. I'm really hopeful that I can overwinter that. This is a snacking pepper, a red, let me see, kind of lunchbox red sweet snacking pepper. Oh no, it looks like one of the baby peppers fell off. It has like a worm or something. Isn't that nice? So whatever's been eating it apparently eats the peppers too. Yeah, something's been eating my peppers. I have this happening. I want to kind of make this a little village, but I'm not sure whether it should be here or whether it should be somewhere else. I don't know, but I have this little door and bridge. So stay tuned. I have 3 of these kind of begonia plants. There's this one, the one on this corner over here, and then there's one on the other side on the garden side. The garden one's doing the best. This one seems to flower the most. These guys, these hostas, were on this hill before I cleared everything away. There's still a lot to do here, but this is looking a lot better than it was. I really need to bleach and paint this back door. I see it has like a ton of moss growing on it. The old stairs are super crooked. I'm wondering if I can somehow shape a new stair on the top and pour concrete and then put some kind of wall here to level these stairs out. I don't know yet, because that seems like a lot of work. I'm concreting this already. This used to be a cistern, and we filled it up with rock and concrete, and then weeds grew on top of it. So now I'm using a more thick layer of concrete. I was hoping to do some patterns on it Those aren't coming out very well so far, but we'll see how that turns out. These stepping stones are because Zoe likes to come out without shoes on, and the wood is really uncomfortable on bare feet. This sedum that is blossoming, it's very exciting. I actually bought this last summer and I left it outside in a pot over the winter. The winter wasn't very strong this year, so I split it up into 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. This one's pretty bad, but it came back in a really big way. This is not part of our succulent garden here. It's weeds. This one, I think I got at Lowe's. This one is a red Reuben. He came from Ott's Exotic Plants, and it was really tall like this in its original pot, so I planted it level. This is a firecracker sedum. It's grown a lot. I got it from Lowe's as a singular pot. My blue spruce sedum is rooting, but it doesn't seem to be producing a lot of new growth yet. So I'm waiting for him to kind of take off. I planted the blue spruce sedum to kind of make up for, actually is this, yeah, apparently he's put out a long runner to come up over here, so I'll have to see what he does. But I planted him to make up for the sedum here that's not doing so well. I think that needs some better soil to cover the stems. You can see some stems that would probably really like to burrow into the soil with their roots. Yeah. So blue spruce isn't doing well because I'm not taking very good care of him. So this is one of my impatiens that blossomed up, and it is white. I didn't know what colors each of the flowers that came up would be. This one's a white one. Is a single impatient an impatient, or is it still an impatiens? I don't know. This is a singular plant with multiple blooms. This is my peperomia from IKEA. The blue one next to it is a fake plant that I just sort of put in there to take up some space. And behind it is a polka dot plant that does really well indoors. It gets leggy, and sometimes I have to cut it almost all the way down to the nubs, and then it grows up again. But this peperomia, I was at IKEA with my friend Nicole and Gretchen saw it and she's like, I don't know if I want it. And I said, if you don't want it, then I'll take it. So I kind of feel like I stole it from my friend Gretchen, and because she was like, oh, you can have it, but I kind of felt like I should have let her decide first before I said anything. And every time I see it, I'm like, well, there's Gretchen's peperomia that I stole. This guy I bought from Ott's, and it's a begonia, and I think it needs more moisture than what it's getting. But I've also repotted it, so I think we'll just wait and see, and also give it some water. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? You're real dirty, like you've been rolling around. You've been rolling? Rolling. Are you high on your catnip? This tree keeps dropping limbs, which is why we got the burner, was so that we could burn limbs that fall out of the tree constantly. She's an old one. Well, since we're showing you the yard, let's go to this mess. My plan is to use these panels to sort of hold some of the dirt back, and also put plastic under there, and then backfill and plant along the edges, and dig down to make some drainage, because the way it was, the soil was up higher than that threshold, so water would go into this room that's like, our room is up there, our bedroom, and this room is just kind of detached from the house. It's a basement type of room. I'm gonna probably have to pay somebody to replace the door, because I don't do that kind of thing. But I want to get the landscaping thing done before I have the door replaced. You can see where we painted is, yeah, interesting. Also, the paint colors don't quite match because I painted this one last summer and I didn't do a good job and I had to go back and buy more paint and it doesn't match. So I will figure out how to make that look less garbagey sometime. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, but this is hopefully going to be a bit higher so that the water runs off that way. And then a drainage port here for water that does run down so it doesn't get, you know, into that area. It just needs to be lower here. And then probably a grass ramp or a rock ramp or something so that Idrissa can store the lawnmowers in there. Because right now he's taking the lawnmowers through here, and behind that door is like a 2-foot drop. Like there's no stair there to you know. Oh yeah, this is what I hope to repurpose to use in the strawberry bed to hold the strawberries up. I really hope it works. It's our old baby gate that has been repurposed for lots of things, but I think I'm just gonna take the wood part off and just use the plastic on the inside and maybe take out some sections for the root of the strawberry where they like actually live at, so I don't have to dig them all up. But I think this is gonna work out. Around our fire pit, except for these black rocks, all the rest of these rocks and bricks I dug up out of the yard from getting soil ready for the garden. There were all of these rocks were underneath the soil, even this one, were underneath the ground, and I dug them all up. So I've spent a lot of time just digging and pulling rocks out of the soil so that we could grow things in the garden. And this is how they got repurposed. I did buy a bag of these black rocks because I thought they were cool looking. And the uglier rocks I put under there. I don't know why all these bricks were under the ground. So most of those bricks came from this corner. I don't know why. It's almost like someone had a construction project and they just never actually carried it out. There's some more rocks along the edges of the fence. And there's these bricks that look like they maybe were the edge of some kind of flower garden, but this is such a strange area to have any kind of flower stuff growing because this tree has been here for a long time. So I'm going to be digging these bricks up. There were more here, and that guy. These are my asparagus plants, and I just planted them this year. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be a 5th one unless something ate the top of it. But I actually started out with 7. First, you're supposed to dig a deep trench. Their roots can go down like 15 feet. And then as they're growing up, you're supposed to bury them. Obviously, I'm a little behind on the burying, but they're doing okay. And they're perennial, so they should come back every year. Yesterday, I planted this Flava trumpet flower, who I've named Flava Flav. I don't know if he actually grabs a hold of things like this. I may have to put some, what is that called? Peat moss. I may have to put some peat moss on this so it has something to burrow into. But when I was digging the hole for this Flava trumpet flower, I dug up this. This very large stone was under the ground right there. So that's kind of exciting. And also this stone, slightly smaller. All of these bricks came from the area next to the fence, and all those rocks were in Flava Flav's hole. One red impatient, something's been digging it up. It's not good. Red impatient. You have to deadhead your flowers so that they continue to make more flowers more quickly. This is Morning Glories, and they could be red or they could be blue. They're either Scarlet O'Hara or a blue Picote. My family mixed up the packages, so I don't know. This one is the other one. It's either Blue Quixote or Scarlet O'Hara. I have been watering it a lot because it looks so thirsty, but it just isn't recovering. It's not doing that well, which is kind of why I planted Flava Flav here, to kind of cover up if that doesn't grow in. So raspberry bushes are doing really well. The Tulamine raspberries are ripening, and I've tried some. They're super sweet and delicious. And the Canby raspberries were first. They're actually the first to ripen. Blackberry is starting to put some berries on. They're not ripe yet. Nicole's raspberries, I don't know what kind of raspberries they are. My friend Nicole gave me these 2 bushes and they are establishing themselves. Still, we're getting a lot of nibbling. I've sprayed rosemary oil on them, but it's rained a few times since then. What is this guy? Autumn sage? A Mirage Cherry Red Autumn Sage. It's a salvia. So this is a salvia bush. So here's why you want to deadhead your flowers. This is a dianthus. This one, I cut all the flowers off like last week. The dead flowers, I cut them off. This one, I did not until just yesterday. And I cut all of them off except the ones that had a couple of blooms. And this one, I believe I did cut off, but it's working on root development because he was placed here last, right? This is a small plant, and I know that it's putting in a lot of energy into putting the roots in because these 2 are already here. This rose bush I planted here this year from an $8 start from Ollie's. I don't know what color the flowers are going to be. Something's been eating this flower. That's sad. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the flowers will be. This is one of my peony bushes. I dug him up from over here. I was going to dig up all 4 of these, but I dug up this one and the root ball was just gigantic. And I struggled to carry the soil and the root over here, and I actually dropped it on its head and broke off all of the new stems in the spring. So I was worried. I thought, I don't know if it's gonna make it, for one, and I definitely didn't expect it to bloom. She had less blooms than the ones that were on the other side, but she did manage to poke up some new sprouts and bloom, and I think that this is going to be better because the sunlight is better here than it is behind the house. Right now I've got this sort of arch with the bricks that go around. These are Holland pavers that were about 68 cents each, and on this side I have the bricks that I dug up from the yard, and I know there's probably enough of them that I can go and do a thing on the other side. I might want to make it so that there's like a circle here, so that I might, you know, put a table in here and have breakfast or something. That could be fun. My original thought was to have it curve along the same as this side, but now that I see how the fruit trees are developing and like just the natural shape of it, I might want a circle here. Maybe even like a bird bath in the middle. I don't know. This is a Snow Station candy tuft. It is done for the year, which is sad because the blooms are so pretty. Methley plum tree. I don't think he's produced any kind of fruit yet. Here we have some lilies, and this was a mystery bulb, but obviously it was a gladiola bulb. Hey, May. Oh yeah, this is a Chinese peony that I found in the flower bed among the irises and tiger lilies. Kuro, how's that catnip doing? These 2 petunias are not doing that great. They were planted in pretty early spring, and they're not doing wonderfully. Under here, there are some spring flower bulbs that I'm hoping will come up again next spring. We've got some stone crop and my hosta, which is, there's this weed. This is one of those really bad weeds too. I don't know what this is, but it grows this huge stem. It travels underground to propagate itself. There's more bindweed. I keep pulling bindweed out. Bindweed is sort of like a morning glory on steroids. It wraps around your other plants and tries to bind and choke. This is a blue hosta that I just got this year, and it's making some kind of flower. That's fun and exciting. This is a hosta that I had to split from the one in the front, and I think, oh, more bindweed. I think I'll probably have to split the one in the front again because it's getting really big. This is the last of the Indiana daylilies. What do they call it? An invasive plant in New Jersey. And I can see why, because they really do spread. Something dug a hole right here yesterday. Between yesterday and today, a thing has dug a hole. Here's one of my new rose bushes. This one I planted last year, and something's eating the leaves. And this one I planted this year. It has made one rose, but I chopped it off so that it would put its energy into roots and leaves. And it's doing the worst of all the rose bushes that I have. I'm running the irrigation system. I put in an irrigation system, a drip irrigation. It does not work very well, but it is what it is. Is this one? Yeah, it's dripping. This one I've got on very, very low. These are Liatris. I've got Liatris here, there, and a few sad ones in here with the irises. These planters, they're not really very good for anything. These impatiens are doing surprisingly well. I guess they like dry, terrible soil. This is the compost. We've got a Rose of Sharon, a Royal Palm. This is a hibiscus, but the flowers have, wilted off of it. I noticed yesterday it had those little tiny bugs. What are they called? Aphids. I used the hose on jet power, and I think I blew off the aphids, but I'll likely have to do that again. I take off any leaves that are damaged, diseased, dysfunctional, dead. Anything that begins with the letter D, really. My Gerbera daisy is doing so good, even though something is eating its leaves. I'm gonna leave that one there. Maybe the bugs will eat that one instead. Liatris, petunia that's not doing that great. These are pink cherub spile irises that I planted as bulbs, and I really hope that tubers, but I really hope that they do well. This rose bush is doing really well. It's made a few roses that I've trimmed off. These, this is some kind of tree that I dug the root out, and obviously it's still in there. And there's some bindweed over here, and pokeweed. Tons of pokeweed in this area. I've seen gardeners posting about this weed online constantly. This weed what's this? Okay, I don't know what that is, but these I think are lamb's ear. It is a weed that travels, but it tastes so good. This tastes better than spinach. It tastes better than any lettuces I've grown. So anytime I find it, I let it grow to about 7-8 inches tall, and then I trim it and wash it really well and put it in our salads. It tastes so good. You don't have to cook it. Sometimes I just pluck it and eat it right out in the garden. Since I covered all this over, I was a little sad that I was, getting rid of all of that particular edible weed. So I was happy to see it sprout up in a few places. There's also some right in here with these irises. I don't know how well these are gonna come up because it is a really shallow container. Here's the corn. As you can see, there are several different heights of corn and sunflower seeds in here because the rabbits kept digging them up. And these are from the original corn. And then those are some transplanted corn that I actually grew inside and transplanted out, which is not recommended. They do better if you plant them directly. But things were digging them up, and like as soon as they sprouted, they were pulling up the sprout like the day after. It was very sad. These ones I directly sowed, and it seems like this little fence that I put up is keeping the rabbits out. So I think it's rabbits, not squirrels. And then I put this because I made this several years ago, and I just hope that rabbits can't read. This is my zucchini. She's gigantic, and I'm very proud of her. She's doing great. She's got these are 3 golden zucchinis, yellow zucchinis, and I should hurry up because my phone keeps turning itself off because it's so hot. We've got tomatoes, lemon boys, carrots. My herbs are doing so much better in the ground than they were in pots. And these are mostly blueberries. Blueberry, gladiola, blueberry with a couple of blueberries on it. And the gladiolas have like a cage under them because the squirrels kept digging them up. And that's why there's fake foliage in there too, was to try to deter the squirrels. These are blueberry, and a dahlia. Her blooms seem to not last very long at all. They bloom and then just seem to immediately dry and singe up. So I don't know what's going on with her. The peach tree has peaches. I have sprayed them with rosemary and neem oil because something's been eating them. You can see that there's a little bit of like this hardened goo. I'm hoping that they'll be okay, but if not, that's all right. Pear tree has 1 pear growing on him. It's kind of exciting. I mean, I just planted them this year, so they should be putting energy into their root development, and they are fruiting already, so that's pretty exciting. Here we have a clematis and some fake flowers because the squirrels like to dig. These are 2 different colors of clematis. This one is this purple, and the HF Young, I think, is like a lighter purple. Is this yeah, this is an HF Young clematis. He's a lighter purple than that one. This is mini zinnies. I see the basket can't keep the bugs out. Something's been eating my mini zinnies. Cucumber. This one's doing poorly. I've kept the cover on him because he's just not doing as well as his 2 brothers. This cucumber is doing the best out of them. This is a stunted tomato that was planted a long time ago, even though he's so small. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Probably nothing special. These are asparagus beans and long beans, like the purple long beans, because all of my Kentucky Wonders got eaten up by various pests. So I kept planting more and more beans, and this is just what we have. What is this? Oh, this is a bean plant that was struggling. You're doing okay now. You probably don't need this anymore. This is a tomato. Oh, actually, you're getting bigger. Yeah. Oh, and you've got one of those one of those things I like to eat. So I'm just going to actually eat this one. Yes. So good. Tomato. I put those here because they're just not doing as well as the other tomatoes. Oh, wow. I planted these zucchini a little too close. This is a Black Beauty zucchini. You're catching up with Goldie over there, aren't you? You're almost as big as Goldie. Look at that. Not quite, but you're catching up. Yeah, my eggplants. This is a Hansel white eggplant. Or wait, this is Gretel. This is Hansel and Gretel. Hansel is a pinstripe eggplant. Gretel is the official name of this kind of eggplant, which is a white eggplant. I just named that one Hansel so I'd remember this one's Gretel. I can't get your leaf off, it's too aggressive. This eggplant I planted from seed. And as you can see, it's a lot smaller than the ones I bought as plants. My pink Speedwell, I just deadheaded. My blue Speedwell, I deadheaded her a lot earlier. So she looks a lot better than the pink one. Sedum. This is the phlox that was next to zucchini in the raised beds. This is actually blue phlox. It almost died because I waited too long to plant it out and it was root bound, and then it became very thirsty, but it's still alive, so that's good. It was completely black and I'm seeing some growth now. My Jack Be Little pumpkin on one side is making a couple of baby pumpkins. Those are so cute. Oh, I hope taking the flower off wouldn't ruin it. I actually took the flower off of a zucchini last week and it caused it to go bad, half of it, and I ate the other half because, you know, I didn't want to waste it. This Jack Be Little isn't making any baby pumpkins yet, but I see a lot of sprouts. That one is, the one making the pumpkins is probably 3 to 4 weeks older than the pumpkin plant on the other side because my squirrels dug up all of the pumpkins seedlings when they were really little. Very sad. Very bad squirrels. My bachelor's button is doing really well. I need to deadhead that one too. I'm wondering if I'm not letting the seeds mature all the way. Not yet. I think I won't let them mature until the end of the season, because once the seeds mature, it'll send hormones to the plant that tells it that it doesn't need to make more flowers. I want it to keep making flowers through the summer, and then at the end of the summer, I'll let its last flush of flowers ripen all the way and make seeds. This, I believe, is a Cutesy Cosmo. He was planted in, I don't know, maybe February. I didn't write on there when he was planted. He's the last one left because the squirrels killed and ate all the other ones. And the growth is extremely, oh, I see a spider down there. Oh, I don't know if you can see him. I like spiders in the garden because they eat the other things. Spiders don't eat leaves. These are my snapdragons. These ones are really pretty when they're blooming. And they bloomed literally 3 days later. Coral bells. He's doing really well. Requires pretty much no care from me. Actually, I'm gonna put that under here. Yeah. This rose makes the prettiest flowers, just like a bright coral orange flower. And something is eating its leaves, which is not good, but she's doing really well in this corner. Just planted her this year, so I'm pretty happy with her development. These are 2 blue hostas. I don't know why this root is doing so much better than that one. I have been trying to nurture this one, give him lots of water, and it doesn't seem to, I mean, he's not dying, but he's not doing as well as the one next to it either. Oh yeah, my apple tree. I feel like the branches on the apple tree are possibly a bit too long, but it's also so young that I don't want to cut them. Fruit trees are supposed to have 1 main long stem and it has 2. So at the end of the season, I will probably cut this one off. I'll prune it back pretty drastically. But I don't think right now is a good time to cut it because I just planted it maybe a month or 2 ago and I want it to develop roots and not be shocked too much. I did see some aphids on it, like lots of aphids. a couple weeks ago. I sprayed him with neem oil, and that's why these leaves look so bad. The neem oil just caused them to fry. And then the aphids were still there for a couple of days, so I took the hose and put it on jet spray and just power sprayed the aphids off. So I don't see any aphids now, but yeah, the leaves are a bit damaged from the neem oil. Neem oil with water. I didn't spray just neem oil on there, but neem oil with water, and that caused some damage. I'm gonna get like 3 more of these stepping things to go right here. I did have some of that green, this is like a fake grass so that we don't have to mow underneath the bench. And I did have some fake grass there, but we wanted to use it for something else. So now I'm gonna get 3 more of these pavers, which are ridiculously expensive. They're like $5 each. Yeah, you ready to go inside? Yeah, you hungry? Again, you want some turkey? Let's go in. Okay. Yep, that's the garden. I also got this shirt from Temu.